What is up, everybody? JT Dangerous here once again. I am here to do my Week 14 college football predictions, rivalry week. Now, with Week 13 in the books, we are now into Week 14 of the college football season, and it is indeed rivalry week. So I am extremely excited to do my Week 14 predictions for you guys. This is going to be a long video, folks, because I'll be predicting 41 rivalry games. So sit back, get something to drink, get something to eat, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, our record coming into rivalry week after a fantastic Week 13, we went 18-6. So we're coming in like a supernova when it comes to college football predictions on the channel, and I'm looking to keep it that way. So hopefully in this video we will continue the red hot winning ways. We're on an 11-week winning streak. Hopefully in this video we make it 12 weeks. Hopefully. Now, before I start, I do want to wish you guys a very happy Thanksgiving from the Dangerous Alliance. Hopefully, you guys will be celebrating with your friends, family, loved ones, relatives, being thankful for what you have and what you guys are going to receive, and celebrating Turkey Day the ravishing way. Now, this is the first video in a combined 2 video day on the channel today, guys. So I hope you guys will be able to watch all of these videos. Always show your support on the channel by watching these videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, and commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your college football teams in the comment sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, as a first time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, you picked to go in if you're a huge fan of college football like myself, and you're ready for Week 14 of the college football season, known as Rivalry Week. Welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I'm JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is... Two. Whoop, whoop. Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these Week 14 college football predictions. Let's start off on Tuesday night, which will be my 30th birthday. It is a MAC West rivalry showdown between the Western Michigan Broncos heading to Northern Illinois to face the Northern Illinois Huskies. Now, this is the 45th meeting between Western Michigan and Northern Illinois. Western Michigan leads the all-time series 25-19. Now, the Broncos won the meeting last year over the Huskies, and the Huskies are looking to defeat the Broncos for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 13s. Western Michigan's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 7-4, and Northern Illinois is coming off the loss to Eastern Michigan on Tuesday night, coming in at 4-7. So, coming from me in this MAC West rivalry showdown on Tuesday night, I'm going to go with the Western Michigan Broncos to get it done on the road and defeat the Northern Illinois Huskies. And now the next matchup, which happens on Thanksgiving Thursday. It is an SEC West rivalry showdown known as the Egg Bowl between the Ole Miss Rebels heading to Starkville, Mississippi to face the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Now, this is the 116th meeting between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Ole Miss leads the all-time series 62-45-6. Now, the Bulldogs won last year's meeting over the Rebels, and the Rebels are looking to defeat the Bulldogs for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 13s as well. Ole Miss is coming off their bye. They're coming in at 4-7, and Mississippi State's coming off their victory over Abilene Christian on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, one victory away from bowl eligibility. So coming from me in this SEC West rivalry showdown on Thanksgiving Thursday and the battle for the Golden Egg Trophy, I'm going to go with the Mississippi State Bulldogs to get it done at home and become bowl eligible and defeat the Ole Miss Rebels in a close one. And now the next matchups, which will happen on Black Friday. And when it comes to college football, Black Friday is the most unpredictable. Starting off with a Big 12 rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Chancellor Spurs between the Texas Tech Red Raiders heading to Austin to face the Texas Longhorns. Now, this is the 69th meeting between Texas Tech and Texas. Texas leads the all-time series 51-17. Now, the Longhorns won the last meeting last year over the Red Raiders, and the Red Raiders are looking to defeat the Longhorns for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming out very bad Week 13s in the Big 12 Conference. Texas Tech is coming off their loss to Kansas State on Saturday, coming in at 4-7, and the Longhorns are coming off their loss to Baylor on Saturday, coming in at 6-5. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown and the battle for the Chancellor Spurs, I'm going to go with Sam Ehlinger and the Texas Longhorns to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Texas Tech Red Raiders in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is an American Athletic Conference East rivalry showdown known as the War on I-4 between the South Florida Bulls heading to Central Florida to face the UCF Knights. Now this is only the 11th meeting between South Florida and Central Florida. South Florida leads the old-time series 6-4. Now the Knights have won the last 2 meetings against the Bulls, and the Bulls are looking to defeat the Knights for the first time since November 26 of 2016. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 13s in the American Athletic Conference. South Florida is coming off the loss to Memphis on Saturday, coming in at 4-7, and Central Florida is coming off their victory over Tulane on Saturday, coming in at 8-3. So, coming from me in this American Athletic Conference East rivalry showdown to see who will win the War on I-4 this year, I'm going to go with the Central Florida Knights to get it done at home and defeat the South Florida Bulls. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Coastal rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Commonwealth Cup between the Virginia Tech Hokies heading to Virginia to face the Virginia Cavaliers. Now this is the 101st meeting between Virginia Tech and Virginia. Virginia Tech leads the old-time series 58-37-5. Now the Hokies have won the last 15 meetings against the Cavaliers dating all the way back to 2004, and the Cavaliers are looking to defeat the Hokies for the first time since 2003. Now both teams are coming out very good Week 13s. Virginia Tech is coming out their victory over Pittsburgh on Saturday, coming in at 8-3, and Virginia is coming out their victory over a cupcake opponent in Liberty on Saturday, coming in at also 8-3. Now we do know whoever wins this game will win the ACC Coastal and face the Clemson Tigers in the ACC Championship game next Saturday. So whoever wins this could have a chance to knock off the reigning national champions in the ACC title game. So coming from me in this ACC Coastal rivalry showdown and the battle for the Commonwealth Cup, this one's a tough pick right here. But coming from me, I'm going to go with the Virginia Cavaliers to get it done at home and defeat the Virginia Tech Hokies in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown between the Cincinnati Bearcats heading to Memphis to face the Memphis Tigers. Now this is the 35th meeting between Cincinnati and Memphis. Memphis leads the all-time series 21-13. Now the Tigers have won the last 3 meetings against the Bearcats dating all the way back to 2014, and the Bearcats are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time since 2013. Now both teams are coming out very good Week 13s in the American Athletic Conference. Cincinnati's coming out their victory over Temple on Saturday, coming in at 10-1, and Memphis is coming out their victory over South Florida on Saturday, coming in also at 10-1. So coming from me in this American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown, this one's a tricky pick. Both teams are 10-1. Both teams are looking to get into the American Athletic Conference Championship game next week. So coming from me, I may get this one wrong, but I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bearcats to get it done on the road and defeat the Memphis Tigers in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten West rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Heroes Trophy between the Iowa Hawkeyes heading to Lincoln to face the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now this is the 50th meeting between Iowa and Nebraska. Nebraska leads the all-time series 29-17-3. Now the Hawkeyes have won the last 4 meetings against the Cornhuskers, and the Cornhuskers are looking to defeat the Hawkeyes for the first time since 2014. Now both teams are coming out very good Week 13s in the Big Ten Conference. Iowa's coming off their victory over Illinois on Saturday, coming in at 8-3, and Nebraska's coming off their blowout victory over Maryland on Saturday, coming in at 5-6 with 1 win away from bowl eligibility. So coming from me in this Big Ten West rivalry showdown and the battle for the Heroes Trophy, man. Scott Frost would definitely be saving his job if Nebraska can be bowl eligible. But coming from me, I got to go with the Iowa Hawkeyes to get it done on the road and defeat the Nebraska Cornhuskers in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC rivalry showdown between the Missouri Tigers heading to Little Rock to face the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now this is only the 11th meeting between Missouri and Arkansas. Missouri leads the all-time series 7-3. Now the Tigers have won the last 3 meetings against the Hogs, and the Razorbacks are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time in 4 years. Now both teams are coming out very bad Week 13s in the SEC Conference. Missouri's coming off their loss to Tennessee on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, a win away from bowl eligibility, and Arkansas's coming off their blowout loss to LSU on Saturday, coming in at 2-9. So coming from me in this SEC rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with Kelly Bryant and the Missouri Tigers to rebound and bounce back on the road and become bowl eligible and defeat the Arkansas Razorbacks. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 North rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Apple Cup between the Washington State Cougars heading to Seattle to face the Washington Huskies. Now this is the 112th meeting between Washington State and Washington. Washington leads the all-time series 73-32-6. Now the Huskies have won the last 6 meetings against the Cougars dating all the way back to 2013, and the Cougars are looking to defeat the Huskies for the first time since 2012. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 13s in the Pac-12 Conference. Washington State's coming off their come-from-behind victory over Oregon State on Saturday, coming in at 6-5, and the Huskies are coming off their loss to the Colorado Buffaloes on Saturday, also coming in at 6-5. So coming from me in this Pac-12 North rivalry showdown and the battle for the Apple Cup, I'm going to go with Jacob Eason and the Washington Huskies to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Washington State Cougars in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is a MAC rivalry showdown between the Toledo Rockets heading to Central Michigan to face the Central Michigan Chippewas. Now this is the 48th meeting between Toledo and Central Michigan. Toledo leads the all-time series 26-18-3. Now the Rockets have won the last 9 meetings against the Chippewas dating all the way back to 2010, and the Chippewas are looking to defeat the Rockets for the first time since 2009. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 13s. Toledo's coming off the loss to Buffalo on Wednesday night, coming in at 6-5, and Central Michigan's coming off a bye, coming in at 7-4. So coming from me in this MAC rivalry showdown on Black Friday, I'm going to go with the Central Michigan Chippewas to get it done at home and defeat the Toledo Rockets in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Mountain West Conference Mountain rivalry showdown between my Boise State Broncos heading to Colorado State to face the Colorado State Rams. Now this is the 9th meeting between Boise State and Colorado State. My Broncos have won the last 8 meetings against the Rams dating all the way back to 2011, and the Rams are looking to defeat my Broncos for the very first time. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 13s in the Mountain West Conference. Boise State's coming off their big victory against Utah State on Saturday night, coming in at 10-1, and Colorado State's coming off their loss to Wyoming on Friday night, coming in at 4-7. So coming from me in this Mountain West Conference Mountain rivalry showdown, with Boise State in the Mountain West Conference Championship game next week against Hawaii, my Broncos cannot look ahead to that. They got to get it done here. So coming from me, I'm going to take my Boise State Broncos to get it done on the road and defeat the Colorado State Rams. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the West Virginia Mountaineers heading to TCU to face the TCU Horned Frogs. Now this is the 9th meeting between West Virginia and TCU. The series is tied 4-4, so whoever wins this will break the tie. Now the Mountaineers won last year's meeting over the Horned Frogs, and the Horned Frogs are looking to defeat the Mountaineers for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off losses in Week 13 in the Big 12 Conference. West Virginia's coming off the loss to Oklahoma State on Saturday, coming in at 4-7, and TCU's coming off their loss to my Oklahoma Sooners on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. So, coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown on Friday night, I'm going to go with the TCU Horned Frogs to rebound and bounce back at home and become bowl eligible and defeat the West Virginia Mountaineers in a shootout. And now the Saturday slate, starting off with a Big 10 rivalry showdown between the Maryland Terrapins heading to East Lansing to face the Michigan State Spartans. Now this is only the 11th meeting between Maryland and Michigan State. Sparty leads the all-time series 8-2. Now Sparty has won the last 2 meetings against the Terrapins, and the Terrapins are looking to defeat Michigan State for the first time in 3 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 13s in the Big Ten Conference. Maryland's coming off their blowout loss to Nebraska on Saturday, coming in at 3-8, and Michigan State's coming off their victory over Rutgers on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. So, coming from me in this Big Ten rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Michigan State Spartans to get it done at home and become bowl eligible and defeat the Maryland Terrapins. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC rivalry showdown between the Boston College Eagles heading to Heinz Field to face the Pittsburgh Panthers. Now this is the 31st meeting between Boston College and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh leads the all-time series 17-13. Now the Panthers have won the last 4 meetings against the Eagles dating all the way back to 2002, and the Eagles are looking to defeat the Panthers for the first time since 2001. Now both teams are coming out very bad Week 13s in the ACC Conference. Boston College is coming off the loss to Notre Dame, which is not part of the ACC, on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, a win away from bowl eligibility. And Pittsburgh's coming off their loss to Virginia Tech on Saturday, coming in at 7-4. So coming from me in this ACC rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Pitt Panthers to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Boston College Eagles in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC versus SEC rivalry showdown known as the Palmetto Bowl between the reigning national champions, the Clemson Tigers, heading to Columbia, South Carolina to face the South Carolina Gamecocks. Now this is the 117th meeting between Clemson and South Carolina. Clemson leads the all-time series 70-42-4. Now the Tigers have won the last 4 meetings against the Gamecocks, and the Gamecocks are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time since 2013. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 13. Clemson's coming in undefeated at 11-0, and South Carolina's coming in at 4-7. So, coming from me in this year's Palmetto Bowl, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, Dabo Swinney, and the reigning national champions, the Clemson Tigers, to get it done on the road and defeat the South Carolina Gamecocks. And now the next matchup. It is another ACC versus SEC rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Governor's Cup between the Louisville Cardinals heading to Lexington to face the Kentucky Wildcats. Now this is only the 32nd meeting between Louisville and Kentucky. Kentucky leads the all-time series 16-15. Now the Wildcats won the last meeting last year over the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are looking to defeat the Wildcats for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very good Week 13s. Louisville's coming out their victory over Syracuse on Saturday, coming in at 7-4, and Kentucky's coming out their victory over UT Martin on Saturday, coming in at 6-5. Now, this rivalry is also a fantastic college basketball rivalry with Coach John Calipari at Kentucky against Louisville. So these two teams know each other when it comes to college basketball and college football. So coming from me in this ACC versus SEC rivalry showdown and the battle for the Governor's Cup, I'm going to go with the Kentucky Wildcats to get it done at home and defeat the Louisville Cardinals in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Old Oaken Bucket between the Indiana Hoosiers heading to Purdue to face the Purdue Boilermakers. Now this is the 122nd meeting between Indiana and Purdue. Purdue leads the all-time series 74-41-6. Now the Boilermakers have won the last 2 meetings against the Hoosiers, and the Hoosiers are looking to defeat the Boilermakers for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off losses in Week 13 in the Big Ten Conference. Indiana's coming off the loss to Michigan on Saturday, coming in at 7-4, and Purdue's coming off their loss to Wisconsin on Saturday, coming in at 4-7. So, coming from me in this Big Ten rivalry showdown to see who will win the Old Oaken Bucket, I'm going to go with the Indiana Hoosiers to rebound and bounce back on the road and defeat the Purdue Boilermakers. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC rivalry showdown, and it's the Battle of the Carolinas between the North Carolina Tar Heels heading to NC State to face the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Now this is the 109th meeting between North Carolina and North Carolina State. North Carolina leads the all-time series 66-36-6. Now the Wolfpack have won the last 3 meetings against the Tar Heels, and the Tar Heels are looking to defeat the Wolfpack for the first time in 4 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different. Week 13, North Carolina is coming off their cupcake victory over Mercer on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And North Carolina State's coming off the loss to Georgia Tech on Thursday night, coming in at 4-7. So, coming from me in this ACC rivalry showdown and the battle of North Carolina football squads, I'm really hoping Mack Brown gets this victory, because this has been a very intriguing year for North Carolina football with Mack Brown being the head coach. And it would be very good to see North Carolina win this and become bowl eligible in his first year there. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Mack Brown's North Carolina Tar Heels to get it done on the road and become bowl eligible in his first year there and defeat the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And now the next matchup. It is another ACC versus SEC rivalry showdown known as the Sunshine Showdown between the Florida State Seminoles heading to the Swamp to face the Florida Gators. Now this is the 64th meeting between Florida State and Florida. Florida leads the all-time series 35-26-2. Now the Gators won the meeting last year over the Seminoles, and the Seminoles are looking to defeat the Gators for the first time since in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off byes. Florida State's coming in at 6-5, and Florida's coming in at 9-2. So coming from me in this year's Sunshine Showdown between the ACC and the SEC, I'm going to go with Dan Mullen and the Florida Gators to get it done at home and defeat the Florida State Seminoles. Chomp, chomp. And now the next matchup, and this is the matchup I have been waiting for. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown and is known as the Bedlam Series, and is the battle for the Bedlam Bell between my Oklahoma Sooners heading to Stillwater, Oklahoma to face the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Now this is the 114th meeting between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. OU leads the all-time series 88-18-7. Now my Sooners have won the last 4 meetings against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are looking to defeat my Sooners for the first time in 5 years. Now both teams are coming off very good Week 13s in the Big 12 Conference. The Sooners are coming off their big victory over TCU on Saturday, coming in at 10-1, and Oklahoma State's coming off their victory over West Virginia on Saturday, coming in at 8-3. Now, with the Big 12 championship game already set for Saturday, next Saturday between Baylor and my Oklahoma Sooners, this game is all about bragging rights to see who will have bragging rights for another year when it comes to this Bedlam series. So, coming from me in this year's Bedlam in the Big 12 for the Bedlam Bell in the Big 12 Conference, oh man, this one's going to be good. These two teams never disappoint. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts and my Oklahoma Sooners to get it done on the road and defeat the Oklahoma State Cowboys in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is another ACC versus SEC rivalry showdown known as clean old-fashioned hate between the Georgia Bulldogs heading to Georgia Tech to face the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Now this is the 114th meeting between Georgia and Georgia Tech. Georgia leads the all-time series 67-41-5. Now, Georgia has won the last 2 meetings against the Yellow Jackets, and the Yellow Jackets are looking to defeat the Bulldogs for the first time since November 26, 2016. Now, both teams are coming out very different. Week 13s, Georgia's coming off their victory over Texas A&M on Saturday, coming in at 10-1, and Georgia Tech's coming off their victory over NC State on Thursday night, coming in at 3-8. So, coming from me in the clean old-fashioned hate rivalry between these two rivals, I'm going to go with Jake Fromm from State Farm and those Georgia Bulldogs to get it done on the road and defeat the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And now the next matchup. It is a Mountain West Conference West rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Valley Cup between this city's Fresno State Bulldogs heading to San Jose to face the San Jose State Spartans. Now this is the 83rd meeting between Fresno State and San Jose State. Fresno State leads the all-time series 42-37-3. Now, the Bulldogs have won the last 2 meetings against the Spartans, and the Spartans are looking to defeat the Bulldogs for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming out very bad Week 13s in the Mountain West Conference. Fresno State's coming off their heartbreaking loss to Nevada on Saturday night, coming in at 4-7, and San Jose State's coming off the loss to UNLV on Saturday, coming in also at 4-7. So, coming from me in this Mountain West Conference West rivalry showdown and the battle for the Valley Cup, I'm going to go with Jet Tedford's Fresno State Bulldogs to rebound and bounce back on the road and defeat the San Jose State Spartans. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten East rivalry showdown known as the Big Game between the Ohio State Buckeyes heading to the Big House to face the Michigan Wolverines. Now this is the 116th meeting between Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan leads the all-time series 58-50-6. Now the Buckeyes have won the last 7 meetings against the Wolverines dating all the way back to 2012, and the Wolverines are looking to finally beat the Buckeyes for the first time in 8 years. And now both teams are coming out very good Week 13s in the Big Ten Conference. Ohio State's coming off their victory over Penn State on Saturday, coming in undefeated at 11-0, and Michigan's coming off their victory over Indiana on Saturday, coming in at 9-2. So this is it. This is it for Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's maybe is possibly his last chance to finally beat Ohio State. And it's been since 2011 since Michigan beat Ohio State in their home turf. So this is a must-win for Jim Harbaugh if he wants to keep his job. Yes, they're 9-2, but still, he has not beaten Ohio State since he's been there. So this is a must-win for Jim Harbaugh if he wants to solidify his coaching career at Michigan by getting Michigan's first victory over Ohio State in 8 years. So coming from me in this Big Ten East rivalry showdown in the battle for the big game, Justin Fields versus Shea Patterson. This one's going to be good. But coming from me, I got to go with Justin Fields and the Ohio State Buckeyes to get it done on the road and make it 9 years in a row and defeat the Michigan Wolverines. OHIO. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 North rivalry showdown known as Civil War between the Oregon State Beavers heading to Eugene to face the Oregon Ducks. Now this is the 123rd meeting between Oregon State and Oregon. Oregon leads the all-time series 65, 47, and 10. Now the Ducks have won the last 2 meetings against the Beavers, and the Beavers are looking to defeat the Ducks for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming off very bad Week 13s in the Pac-12 Conference. Oregon State's coming off their heartbreaking loss to Washington State on Saturday night, coming in at 5-6, a win away from bowl eligibility. And Oregon's coming off their shocking loss to the Arizona State Sun Devils on Saturday night, coming in at 9-2. So coming from me in this Pac-12 North rivalry showdown and to see who will be winning the Platypus Trophy, that Oregon loss to Arizona State shook the college football playoff for sure, because that was a loss Oregon did not need to get, and they definitely screwed themselves in making a college football playoff semifinal. They're definitely going to be in the Pac-12 title game against possibly Utah or USC. But that loss to Arizona State on Saturday hurt them big time when it comes to the college football playoff. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Justin Herbert and the Oregon Ducks to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Oregon State Beavers in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is the battle for the Legends Trophy between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish heading to Stanford to face the Stanford Cardinal. Now this is the 34th meeting between Notre Dame and Stanford. Notre Dame leads the all-time series 19-13. Now the Irish won the last meeting last year over the Cardinal, and the Cardinal are looking to defeat the Irish for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 13s. Notre Dame's coming off their victory over Boston College on Saturday, coming in at 9-2, and Stanford's coming off their loss to the big game against Cal on Saturday, coming in at 4-7. So coming from me in this battle for the Legends Trophy, I'm going to go with Ian Book, Brian Kelly, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to get it done on the road and defeat the Stanford Cardinal. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 South rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Territorial Cup between the Arizona Wildcats heading to Tempe to face the Arizona State Sun Devils. Now this is the 93rd meeting between Arizona and Arizona State. Arizona leads the all-time series 49, 42-1. Now the Sun Devils have won the last 2 meetings against the Wildcats, and the Wildcats are looking to defeat the Sun Devils for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 13s in the Pac-12 Conference. Arizona's coming off their blowout loss to Utah on Saturday night, coming in at 4-7, and Arizona State's coming off their huge victory over Oregon at home on Saturday night, coming in at 6-5. So coming from me in this Pac-12 South rivalry showdown to see who will be hoisting the Territorial Cup, got to give it up to Herm Edwards. For the second year in a row, he has got Arizona State to a with a bowl eligible record. So congrats, Herm Edwards. Definitely deserves it. And a big win over Oregon on Saturday night. That definitely was his biggest win of his college football career. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Herm Edwards and the Arizona State Sun Devils to get it done at home and defeat the Arizona Wildcats. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 rivalry showdown known as the Bear Bowl between the Cal Golden Bears heading to UCLA to face the UCLA Bruins. Now this is the 90th meeting between Cal and UCLA. UCLA leads the old-time series 55-33-1. Now, the Bruins have won the last 2 meetings against the Golden Bears, and the Golden Bears are looking to defeat the Bruins for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming out very different. Week 13s in the Pac-12 Conference. Cal's coming off their big victory over Stanford in the big game on Saturday, coming in at 6-5, and UCLA's coming off their loss to USC on Saturday, coming in at 4-7. So, coming from me in this year's Bear Bowl in the Pac-12 division, I'm going to go with the Cal Golden Bears to get it done on the road and defeat the UCLA Bruins. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Baylor Bears heading to Lawrence to face the Kansas Jayhawks. Now this is the 19th meeting between Baylor and Kansas. Baylor leads the all-time series 14-4. Now the Bears have won the last 9 meetings against the Jayhawks, and they're coming dating back to 2010. And the Jayhawks are looking to defeat the Bears for the first time since 2007. Now both teams are coming out very different. Week 13s in the Big 12 Conference. Baylor's coming off their victory over Texas on Saturday, coming in at 10-1, and Kansas is coming off their loss to Iowa State on Saturday, coming in at 3-8. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, knowing that it's going to be Baylor versus Oklahoma 2 and the Big 12 championship game next week, Baylor has to win. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears to get it done on the road and defeat the Kansas Jayhawks. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown between the Wake Forest Demon Deacons heading to the Carrier Dome to face the Syracuse Orangemen. Now this is only the 9th meeting between Wake Forest and Syracuse. Syracuse leads the all-time series 5-3. Now the Orangemen won the last meeting last year over the Demon Deacons, and the Demon Deacons are looking to defeat the Orangemen for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very different. Week 13s in the ACC Conference. Wake Forest is coming off their victory over Duke on Saturday, coming in at 8-3, and the Orangemen are coming off their loss to Louisville on Saturday, coming in at 4-7. So coming from me in this ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons to get it done on the road and defeat the Syracuse Orangemen. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC West rivalry showdown between the Texas A&M Aggies heading to Death Valley to face the LSU Tigers. Now this is the 58th meeting between Texas A&M and LSU. LSU leads the all-time series 33-21-3. Now the Aggies won the meeting last year over the Tigers, and the Tigers are looking to defeat the Aggies for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very different. Week 13s in the SEC Conference. Texas A&M is coming off their loss to Georgia on Saturday, coming in at 7-4, and LSU is coming off their victory over Arkansas on Saturday, coming in undefeated at 11-0. So coming from me in this SEC West rivalry showdown, knowing that this year's SEC title game is Georgia versus LSU, LSU cannot afford a loss here. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Coach O and the LSU Tigers to get it done at home and remain undefeated and defeat the Texas A&M Aggies. Jo Tigers! And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Coastal rivalry showdown between the Miami Hurricanes heading to Durham, North Carolina to face the Duke Blue Devils. Now this is the 17th meeting between the U and Duke. Miami leads the all-time series 13-3. Now the Blue Devils won the last meeting last year over the Canes, and the Canes are looking to defeat the Blue Devils for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very bad Week 13s. Miami's coming off their loss to Florida International on Saturday, and their former coach Butch Davis. They're coming in at 6-5, and Duke is coming off their loss to Wake Forest on Saturday, coming in at 4-7. So coming from me in this ACC Coastal rivalry showdown, boy, Miami has been the biggest disappointment in the ACC Coastal this year. I mean, they were right in the cusp of winning the ACC title, ACC Coastal last year. And now this year, they're barely above 500. Very disappointing year for the Hurricanes. So coming from me, I may get this one wrong, but I'm going to go with the U to rebound and bounce back on the road and defeat the Duke Blue Devils in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten West rivalry showdown in which College Game Day will be at this game for the very first time ever, and it's the battle for the Paul Bunyan Axe between the Wisconsin Badgers heading to Minneapolis to face the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now this is the 129th meeting between Wisconsin and Minnesota. The series is tied 60-60. 60-8. So whoever wins this game will break the tie and win the Paul Bunyan Axe. Now the Golden Gophers won the last meeting last year over the Badgers, and the Badgers are looking to defeat the Golden Gophers for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very good Week 13s in the Big Ten Conference. Wisconsin's coming out their victory over Purdue on Saturday, coming in at 9-2, and Minnesota's coming out their victory over Northwestern on Saturday, coming in at 10-1. Now whoever wins this game will be playing the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten Championship game next week. So whoever wins this game is going to have a stiff test against the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, coming from me, in the battle for Paul Bunyan's Axe in the Big Ten West, this game is going to be very intriguing because College Game Day is going to be there. Lee Corso is going to be either picking Wisconsin or Minnesota. This one's going to be good. But the question I got to ask, can Minnesota stop Jonathan Taylor? I know I think he had another 200-yard game this season, and I think he's done a record. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. But Jonathan Taylor is on a whole nother level this year. And if it wasn't for those 2 losses, I would put Jonathan Taylor right up there in the Heisman race. So coming from me to see who will be facing Ohio State next week in the Big Ten Championship game, I want to pick Wisconsin, but the story in the Big Ten Conference has been the Minnesota Golden Gophers because I don't think anybody saw Minnesota being this good this year. So coming from me, I may get this one wrong, but I'm going to go with the Minnesota Golden Gophers to get it done at home and defeat the Wisconsin Badgers and advance to their first Big Ten championship. And now the next matchup. It is a Mountain West Conference West rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Fremont Trophy between the UNLV Rebels heading to Las Vegas to face the Nevada Wolfpack. Now this is the 45th meeting between UNLV and Nevada. Nevada leads the all-time series 27-17. Now the Rebels won the last meeting last year over the Wolfpack, and the Wolfpack are looking to defeat the Rebels for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very good. Week 13s in the Mountain West Conference. UNLV's coming off their victory over San Jose State on Saturday, coming in at 3-8, and Nevada's coming off their come-from-behind victory over Fresno State on Saturday night, coming in at 7-4. So coming from me in this Mountain West Conference West rivalry showdown and the battle for the Fremont Trophy, I'm going to go with the Nevada Wolfpack to get it done at home and defeat the UNLV Rebels in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten West rivalry showdown, and it's the battle for the Land of Lincoln Trophy between the Northwestern Wildcats heading to Champaign, Illinois to face the Illinois Fighting Illini. Now this is the 113th meeting between Northwestern and Illinois. Illinois leads the all-time series 55-52-5. Now the Wildcats have won the last 4 meetings against the Fighting Illini, and the Fighting Illini are looking to defeat the Wildcats for the first time since 2014. Now, both teams are coming out very bad Week 13s in the Big Ten Conference. Northwestern's coming off their loss to Minnesota on Saturday, coming in at 2-9, and the Fighting Illini are coming off their loss to Iowa on Saturday, coming in at 6-5. So, coming from me in this battle for the Land of Lincoln Trophy in the Big Ten West, I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini of Illinois to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Northwestern Wildcats. And now the next matchup. It is a Conference USA East rivalry showdown known as the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry between the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders heading to Western Kentucky to face the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Now this is the 68th meeting between Middle Tennessee State and Western Kentucky. Middle Tennessee State leads the all-time series 34-32-1. Now, the Blue Raiders won the last meeting last year over the Hilltoppers, and the Hilltoppers are looking to defeat the Blue Raiders for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off very good Week 13s in Conference USA play. Middle Tennessee State's coming out their victory over Old Dominion. They're coming in at 4-7. And Western Kentucky's coming out their victory over Southern Mississippi on Saturday, coming in at 7-4. So, coming from me in this 100 Miles of Hate rivalry in Conference USA East Division, I'm going to go with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers to get it done at home and defeat the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Sun Belt West rivalry showdown between the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks heading to Louisiana to face the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. Now this is the 54th meeting between Louisiana Monroe and Louisiana Lafayette. Louisiana Lafayette leads the all-time series 28-25. Now the Raging Cajuns won the last meeting last year over the Warhawks, and the Warhawks are looking to defeat the Raging Cajuns for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very good Week 13s in the Sun Belt Conference. Louisiana Monroe's coming off their victory over Coastal Carolina on Saturday, coming in at 5-6, a 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And the Raging Cajuns are coming off their victory over Troy on Saturday, coming in at 9-2. So coming from me in this Sun Belt West rivalry showdown in the Battle of Louisiana, with Louisiana already in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game against Appalachian State next week, Louisiana Lafayette cannot afford a loss here. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns to get it done at home and defeat the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. And now the next matchup. It is a Sun Belt East rivalry showdown known as Modern Day Hate between the Georgia State Panthers heading to Georgia Southern to face the Georgia Southern Eagles. Now this is only the 6th meeting between Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Georgia State leads the all-time series 3-2. Now the Eagles won the last meeting last year over the Panthers, and the Panthers are looking to defeat the Eagles for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very different Week 13s in the Sun Belt Conference. Georgia State is coming out their victory over South Alabama on Saturday, coming in at 7-4, and Georgia Southern's coming off their loss to Arkansas State on Saturday, coming in at 6-5. So coming from me in this Sun Belt East rivalry showdown known as Modern Day Hate, I'm going to go with the Georgia State Panthers to get it done on the road and defeat the Georgia Southern Eagles in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is an American Athletic Conference West rivalry showdown between the Tulane Green Wave heading to SMU to face the SMU Mustangs. Now this is the 26th meeting between Tulane and SMU. Tulane leads the all-time series 13-12. Now the Mustangs have won the last 4 meetings against the Green Wave, dating all the way back to 2015, and the Green Wave are looking to defeat the Mustangs for the first time since 2012. Now both teams are coming out very bad Week 13s in the American Athletic Conference. Tulane's coming off their loss to Central Florida on Saturday, coming in at 6-5, and SMU's coming off their loss to Navy on Saturday, coming in at 9-2. So coming from me in this American Athletic Conference West rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the SMU Mustangs to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Tulane Green Wave. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 South rivalry showdown known as the Rumble in the Rockies between the Colorado Buffaloes heading to Salt Lake City to face the Utah Utes. Now this is the 66th meeting between Colorado and Utah. Colorado leads the all-time series 32-30-3. Now, the Utes have won the last 2 meetings against the Buffaloes, and the Buffaloes are looking to defeat the Utes for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off very good Week 13s in the Pac-12 Conference. Colorado is coming off their victory over Washington on Saturday night, coming in at 5-6, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And Utah is coming off their blowout victory over Arizona on Saturday, coming in at 10-1. So coming from me in this Pac-12 South rivalry showdown and the battle in the Rumble in the Rockies, Utah is, I think, in the driver's seat because they just need to win, and they're in the Pac-12 championship game for the 2nd consecutive year against Oregon on next Friday. So this game is definitely a must-win for the Utes. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the Utah Utes to get it done at home and defeat the Colorado Buffaloes. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Vanderbilt Commodores heading to Knoxville to face the Tennessee Volunteers. Now this is the 114th meeting between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Tennessee leads the all-time series 75-33-5. Now Vanderbilt has won the last 3 meetings against the Volunteers, and the Volunteers are looking to defeat the Commodores for the first time in 4 years. Now, both teams are coming out very good Week 13s. Vanderbilt's coming off their victory over East Tennessee State on Saturday, coming in at 3-8. And Tennessee's coming off their victory over Missouri on Saturday, coming in at 6-5 and bowl eligible for the first time in seems like years. So coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Volunteers to get it done at home and defeat the Vanderbilt Commodores. And now the final rivalry matchup in Week 14. It is an SEC West rivalry showdown, and it is the Iron Bowl between the Alabama Crimson Tide heading to Jordan-Hare to face the Auburn Tigers. Now this is the 84th meeting between Alabama and Auburn. Alabama leads the all-time series 46-36-1. Now, Bama won the last meeting last year over the Tigers, and the Tigers are looking to defeat the Crimson Tide for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off victories over cupcake opponents on Saturday. Alabama defeating Western Carolina. Alabama's coming in at 10-1, and Auburn's coming off their cupcake victory over Samford on Saturday, coming in at 8-3. So, coming from me, in this year's Iron Bowl in the SEC West and the final game in Week 14, Rivalry Week, even without Tua, who is out for the season for Alabama, this Bama team is still good without him, and that's the scary part about this. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide to get it done on the road and defeat the Auburn Tigers. Roll Tide! And those are my Week 14 college football predictions, Rivalry Week. Woo! Now, I want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below, who do you have winning in Week 14 of the college football season? Do you see any big-time upsets happening before championship week next week? Let me know who you got. And as always, represent your college football teams in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about them. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course, reply right back to you because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Now, before you guys go, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with friends, of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, you guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance, and I will see you guys later tonight for my Week 13 NFL predictions. Later days, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving and peace.